Listener's note, warning. This show is loaded with gist so powerful, it might just push you into a relationship and straight down the aisle. If you're not ready to hear wedding bells and say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, listen at your own risk. Edgar doesn't lie. Check Edgar out. Okay. Some weeks ago, I went on what I thought was a blind date with this lady. Actually, no, let me correct myself. It wasn't a blind date because the moment we saw each other in person, we both knew this wasn't going anywhere. Why? Well, I can't date someone taller than me. This lady was too tall. And when I told her she was too tall, she looked me dead in the eyes and said,
"You're too skinny. You look like a child. You don't even have beards."
Apparently, she likes her men with flesh, big chests, and full beards. And all Edgar brought to the table was a deep baritone voice and, well, vibes. I was stunned. Excuse me, God made me in his image. So if you don't like me, you definitely do not like God. We laughed about it though, because really, what else can we do? The romance was officially dead before the starter even arrived, so we decided to make the most of the day. We ended up discussing about our past relationships and our general preferences. Now, somewhere along the line, it turned into a heated debate. We were arguing about the topic, who cheats more, men or women? Now, there is nothing this woman didn't say about men. She came prepared, like she was the president of the Men Are Trash Association. I tried to defend my gender. I told her, I said, listen, cheating isn't just about sleeping with someone else. There is emotional cheating, psychological cheating, even spiritual cheating. But she wasn't having it. To her, men cheat more. Full stop. End of discussion. No matter the point I tried to pass across, all she kept saying was that men cheat more. Now, the reason I am talking about this particular lady today isn't because of the little debate. No. It's because while we were eating, laughing, having a surprisingly good time, she said something that made me sit up. Something that made me think about my life for hours afterwards. It started when I asked her what I thought was an innocent question. I said, tell me about your past. I would like to know about your ex and the different men you have dated. She laughed. You know those kind of laugh that looks like they are warning you ahead of time. Then she leaned back, looked me dead in the eyes and said,
Edgar, I don't think you really want to know.
Of course I wanted to know. But please, if a lady says you don't want to know, please don't know. She knows the reason why she is saying that. She has sized you up and she feels like you cannot handle what she's about to say. But for some reason, I pushed. I said, no, tell me. I can handle it. Tell me. The next thing she said was,
if you hate me after this, remember you pushed me to speak.
I nodded. She now said,
I've had 3 abortions for 3 different men, and I've slept with over 80 men since I started having sex.
80. 80. Hey, that alone is more than 4 football teams, their substitutes, and their reserve players. Only you, 80 men. Shouldn't that be in the Guinness Book of World Records? God, why did I say I wanted to know? The crazy thing is that if you saw her in person, you would never guess it. She had this quiet, well put together vibe. Very tall, innocent looking babe. I did not know that she was far from innocent. Now, I didn't believe her at first. I said to myself, this girl is just joking and exaggerating, Jerry. This lady cleared my doubt when she started showing me pictures of her exes and videos of herself in tears after one of the abortions. And you know what's wild? She wasn't even telling me this for me to pity her. It was just her truth. I started to imagine the choices she had to make and the regrets she had to carry. But as she spoke, my mind drifted because her story reminded me of another story. Someone whose life was a roller coaster of choices, lovers, and mistakes. Now, the story you're about to listen to is not the story for today. It is, however, a story that you should pay attention to. One hidden with codes and subtext. You might have to listen to this over and over and over again to fully understand the depth of this story. Okay? Long ago, there was a young man called A. A was in love with a young lady called B. Now, B was beautiful, bold, and brilliant. All the men that came in contact with B loved B. B was the hottest lady in town and she knew it. Please pay attention to B because this story revolves around B. Now, B was also in love, but B didn't like A. No, B liked C because C had a big D. You see, C was the only guy who didn't like B. C was crazy, cocky, and over the edge, and a wild cheat. C was the kind of guy that would cheat on you and tell you a crazy story to make it look like it was your fault. Now, B wasn't innocent either. B was sexy and slept around with so many men, including C. For example, E and F were brothers, twins. They tried talking to B to see A as a potential lover, but both of them ended up sleeping with B. Now, F was a real G. He told his friends about B. F told H and I. Now, I also liked B. We kissed at some point, but I never slept with B. H did. H slept with B so many times that he ended his 3-year relationship just to be with B. B also slept with J. Now, J was a jealous guy who also dated B's sister but somehow ended up in B's DMs too. And then K kissed B at a karaoke night. She said it was nothing serious. But you know now, people must talk. People saw B and K do things, but okay. B had a neighbor, L. L was a loser, lonely but loaded. B offered L life in the other room, and he gave her cash when she needed it. B left L for M. Now, M was this mysterious guy she met at the gym, smooth, soft-spoken, and strong. B loved to keep fit, so M became her trainer at home. And you know what that means. Now, N was nosy. He wasn't involved with B, but he had all the gossip and knew everything going on. N told me most of the story I'm telling you today. Did N ever sleep with B? Nah, N never told me that. But oh boy, O was obsessed. He saw B once at a party and never stopped texting her. One night, she gave in. We thought B had changed when she met P because P was the pastor's son. He invited B to Bible study. Till they had a vigil in her room, P was pressing P. Q was quick. A one-night stand at a beach hangout. She barely remembered his name, but N was there and N told me about it. Now, N also told me about R. R was reliable. He always picked her calls, always showed up, and one night, they shared a little too much wine, but R wasn't as sweet as S. S was sweet, sexy, and sensitive. He really liked B, and when she cried about her confusing love life, he held her close. Comfort turned to cuddles. Cuddles turned to... Think about any 3-letter word that starts with S. I never liked T. A warned B about T. T was toxic, arrogant, loud, and reckless. She swore she would never touch him until she did. V was vague. She couldn't even remember how they started or ended. W was wild. He took her on a road trip and they hooked up under the stars. X marked the sport. He was the X that kept coming back. Every time she blocked him, he found a way straight into her pants. Just like A, Y said he loved B, but Y was a chronic liar. And if you are wondering why Y lied, think again, you already know why. Z was her uncle. Now B didn't hold back. She started sleeping with her uncle at the age of 12. Crazy story, right? Yes, it is. But here is where it gets crazier. B got pregnant, and life became very difficult. Everyone denied it, including C. She was blamed, insulted, and treated like trash. Let's be clear, I didn't do it, nor did N. But you know who claimed he was responsible and wanted to be the father? The only man who didn't sleep with B. A. And why? Because A was truly in love with B. Now, I am sure most of you didn't notice that I never mentioned you in this story. Well, that's because I miss you, and you know exactly who you are. Now, this isn't really a story about B. It's a story about you, the lady I fell in love with at a T-Junction. I hope you're listening to this wherever you are. And I hope somewhere you find it in your heart to forgive me for the choices I had to make and the regrets I always carry. Because Edgar doesn't lie. Check Edgar out. Check. This is a Check Edgar production. A Check Edgar production. This is for the single guys and the single ladies. Edgar doesn't lie. Why am I still single? Still single. Why am I still? I want a wife and a family. This kind of life is not right for me. I told my guys how things can be. When I fall in love, I fall for real. I know you want me, don't waste my time. I want a girl that is set and fine. I'm going crazy, so please be mine. God, please, why? Okay. I remember the first time I ever drove a car, sometime in 2012. It was my mother's car. She had gone to the farm and for some reason, she forgot the car keys somewhere in the kitchen. I had just served my lunch when I saw the keys. I don't know why I decided to do it that day. Maybe it was curiosity, maybe it was destiny, maybe it was faith. But I did it. The moment I started the car and moved the gear to D, I knew I was in control. I felt the power. My senses heightened. The air conditioner was on, but I was sweating like a he-goat in Hamatan. I gripped the steering wheel like my life depended on it. Because honestly, it did. I didn't even know where I was going until I drove straight into someone's compound and demolished their fence. The beating I received that day was heavenly. My mother used belts to give me permanent tattoos on my back. That was when I realized that the things that were telling me to drive the car that day, to pick up the key and drive that car, was not fatal, it was serious hunger. I did not know that driving my mother's car would drive her crazy. As I got older, I realized that there is a similarity between driving and living life. Just like driving, life is full of signs. Some are obvious, like stop signs, speed bumps, and traffic lights. Others, you don't see until you have already passed them. When I first started learning how to drive, I hated road signs. My driving school instructor back then would spend hours teaching me about the different types, colors, and signs. To be honest, I didn't really listen. All I wanted to do was hit the express and move fast. The man was talking too much. I used to sit there thinking, bros, just give me the key, let me shine, I beg. After spending 8 years single, I've come to realize that most of these road signs are actually like women. Yes, some women are like roundabouts. They keep going in circles, coming back to the same mistake, the same exes, the same bad habits. No matter what you say or do, they'll still go back to the guy they claim they once hated. Some are like one-way streets. They only see life in one direction. It's either this or that, no middle ground. Some are like U-turns. Just when you think you have figured them out, hey, they remind you have only been dating yourself all along. And then you have the T-Junction women. They bring you to a point where you must choose left or right. No going straight, no going back. And that's where I met her. You. Now, her name was Eunice, but we all called her You. It was easier, quicker, and honestly, it just fits her. So how did I meet You? Some years back, I was working as a content manager for an e-commerce company in Lekki. I lived in Ogudu, so every morning I had to make that legendary Lagos commute. For those of you that are not in Lagos, let me explain this madness. If you leave Ogudu at 5 a.m. on a Monday, you get to Lekki by say 5:45 a.m. Leave by 6 on a Monday and you arrive around 7. Leave at 7, you are looking at 9 a.m., maybe 10. On a bad day, 11 or even 12. And that's for those with cars. If you don't have a car, you either order a ride that drains your account, jump on a Danfo bus that smells like Danfo, or pray for a miracle that a private car, not one chance, will stop and pick you up. Now, usually, I don't carry strangers from Ogudu to Lekki, but sometimes when I drive past that crowd waiting at the junction, I feel somehow, maybe pity, maybe guilt. I don't know. So once in a while, I'll stop and I'll help. There's this T-Junction near my area. That's where the commuters gathered. On good days, I'll pick 2 or 3 people heading in my direction. But that Friday was different. It was raining seriously. I got to the T-Junction and there she was, alone. Everyone was huddled under a shed, clutching their umbrellas. But this woman was just standing there in the open rain, not running, not hiding, almost like she didn't even notice it was falling. I slowed down, rolled down the window. "Are you going to Lekki?" I asked. She didn't speak, just nodded, shivering. I unlocked the doors. She slid into the seat, dripping rainwater onto the mat. And for some reason, I started apologizing like I was the one who asked rain to fall. "So sorry about the mess, okay? Are you alright?" She looked at me. She didn't say a word. She just nodded again. And in my head, I started panicking. Have I carried deaf and dumb like this? Which kind of wala did I just pick up? Then she spoke. Her voice low, almost breaking.
Please.
Wait, we'll be right back after a quick break.
Okay, now real quick. If you are loving the podcast, you will love the CheckMates WhatsApp community. We're talking behind the scenes gist, crazy dating stories, upcoming episode teasers, and a few surprise giveaways just for members. Now click the link in the story notes to join or send your WhatsApp number to edgar@checkedgar.com. Trust me, it's sweeter over there. Okay. Bye-bye.
Can you put off the AC? I'm freezing.
I turned it off instantly. My name is Edgar. Edgar Iriaka. You are?
Eunice. But most people call me you.
You. Like the letter U?
Yeah, just you.
Well, I am Edgar. You can call me E. Like the letter E. You know, I said, you shouldn't be standing under the rain like that. It's not okay.
Yeah, but if I wasn't, you wouldn't have seen me.
She had a point. True.
Nice car, by the way, Mr. E.
Thanks, you. So you, where do you work? Her voice had this strange peace with it. Calm, angelic. The kind of voice that makes you want to ask more questions and maybe not get all the answers. For the next 40 minutes in Lagos traffic, we spoke like we had known each other for years. Before she stepped out of the car, I asked her for a number. She gave it, and in my phone, I saved it as you, T-Junction girl. And then it became our thing. Every day I passed the T-Junction, I looked out for you. Sometimes when she saw my car approaching, she would break into this silly little dance, like her super driver had finally arrived. At some point, she owned the front seat. She would just slide into the car and say,
E, did someone sit on my chair? This is not how I left it yesterday.
Even on days we weren't headed to work, we would still meet at the T-Junction. Sometimes I would park nearby and we would just sit in the car for hours, talking about her work, gossiping about her MD who allegedly had a crush on the HR, and laughing at her endless supply of wild office stories. One day, she suggested we drive to the little spot she had found that sold ice cream. That became another routine. Hours of laughing, teasing, and pretending the rest of the world didn't exist. It was all light and easy. Until one afternoon, I pulled up and saw her wearing these oversized shades. She took them off when she got in, and that's when I noticed it. A black eye. I froze. It looked fresh, like she had fallen or been in a fight. I asked what happened. She said she didn't want to talk about it. I respected that, but deep down I knew. I knew all along. We weren't talking about the important things. So I started paying more attention to who she really was. A few days later, while we were chilling at the T-Junction, I decided to go there. I started asking about her family, her friends, her past relationships, wanting to know more than the surface level laughs. She answered most of the questions easily, but then I asked, "Are you single?" She said,
yes.
but her facial expression said no. I don't even know where the next question came from. "Did your man hit you?" She snapped.
He's not my man. He's my ex. He can never be my man.
Her voice was shaking, her eyes wet, veins standing out on her neck. I told her to breathe, to take it easy, and then it all came out. She told me her ex was abusive, hitting her over small things. One time she said she came home late from work, not knowing he was waiting at her place. He beat her with plywood until she bled. Another time he poured hot water on her back because she didn't wash his clothes well enough. I was stunned. I asked her why she was still in the relationship. She said she wasn't, that she had broken up with him months ago, but he wouldn't let her be. He still paid her rent, sent her pocket money, and the worst part was that he had the keys to her apartment so he could show up at any time. I was furious. I told her to let me get the police involved. Men like that shouldn't be walking free. They should be behind bars. But you begged me not to.
I'll deal with it myself, E. Please, don't get involved.
Now, it wasn't my place to push, but it didn't sit well with me at all. One day, on our way back from work, I was just about to drop you off at the T-Junction when she said she didn't feel like going home.
I just want to spend some time with you now.
I was like, okay. I was about to park my car at our spot, but you didn't want to talk in the car.
E, can we go to your place, please? I want to rest for a few hours and your car isn't so comfortable.
I thought about it for a moment and said, yes. What could possibly go wrong, right? We drove to my apartment. I made her noodles. We talked for a bit. Then she went into my bedroom to rest while I lay down in the sitting room. After a few hours, something just said, "Edgar, go and check up on this girl. Go and check up on this girl. Go and check up on her." And I did. When I got into the room, she was fast asleep. Now, most of her clothes were off. And that's when I saw them. The scars. Different shapes, different sizes, old wounds, healed but still telling their stories. I started counting. 1, 2, 3. I counted 11. My chest felt heavy. When she woke up, she dressed and came to the living room. She thanked me for the hospitality, and I remember her saying,
I haven't found this peace in a long time. Thank you, E.
I smiled, told her that she could come over whenever she wanted. She smiled back. We hugged, and she left. After that, we started spending more time at my place, sometimes at the T-Junction, sometimes just at home. The day I knew she liked me was when she came over and we were watching a movie. I absent-mindedly called her number from my phone, and when it rang, I couldn't believe what I saw. She had saved my number as my comfort. I froze. My face got hot. I said, I started blushing. She noticed and laughed, embarrassed.
If you don't like it, I can change it too.
I said, no, it's fine. I like it like that. Leave it like that. My only concern was I didn't want a random guy seeing comfort on her phone and thinking I was a babe. You know how Nigerian guys can be very stupid. Then she looked at me and asked what I had saved hers as. I tried to change the subject, but when she called my phone, when she saw it, you, T-Junction girl, she burst out laughing so loudly that the movie paused itself.
E, you don't rate me. What kind of name is that? I beg, change it.
I was going to write just you, but she took the phone from me, smiled and wrote, "You baby." For a minute, we just stared at each other. No words, just energy. Then she reached into her bag and pulled out a bottle of wine. We drank, we laughed, we got tipsy. And guys, I don't even know how it happened. But before I could say Jesus is Lord, We started kissing. And I don't mean small pecks, oh, no. I am talking full-grown French kiss. Tongues intertwined like the noodles we were eating. We kissed for about 10 minutes. Then we started making out. No, wait. We didn't have sex, oh. Just touching, teasing, and foreplay. Guys, that day I learned that Shayo na bastard. What I couldn't do with my naked eye, alcohol made me do it times 2. That was how she slept over at my place for the first time till the next morning. When she woke up, she saw about 18 missed calls from her ex. There was also a message that he sent. Where are you? Her face changed. Panic, fear. She jumped out of the bed, started dressing in a rush, and said she had to go. Her ex was around and she hadn't told him she was sleeping out. I tried to calm her down. Relax, calm down. Told her it wasn't safe for her to just go like that, but she didn't even listen. She just left. Something in me said, follow her. But I didn't. I stayed back, pacing, wondering if it was okay. 30 minutes later, I called. No answer. I texted. No reply. I couldn't even go to her house because, truth be told, I didn't even have the address. The first day passed. Nothing. The second day became a week. 1 week became a month. 2 months turned to 3. Every evening, I would go to the T-Junction and wait, hoping she would show up. But she never did. I was confused. What happened to you? The story continues after the commercial break. You people like me, boy. Relax.
Promo. Checkmates. Come. Let me ask you, when last did you hear a story that stayed with you? A story that made you laugh, cry, or even feel seen? Welcome to the Corner Stories, a live storying community where real people share real stories based on a theme. No filters, no fiction. Just raw, funny, heartbreaking, and beautiful moments told live on stage. Every month, I will be joining 7 amazing storytellers to take the mic and share something personal. And one of those storytellers could be you. Do you have a story that deserves to be heard? Then stay tuned for show dates, upcoming themes, and how to take the stage. For all the info behind the scenes gist and to maybe tell your own story, join the Corner Stories WhatsApp community today. Click the CheckMates WhatsApp community link in the show notes or send your number to edgar@checkedgar.com and come find your corner, because at the corner, everybody has a story. What's yours?
Okay. After 3 months of searching for you, waiting at the T-Junction, hoping she would just appear out of nowhere, I finally gave up. I told myself, Edgar, beg, move on with your life. One evening after work, hunger hits me like a boss. You know that kind of hunger where your stomach will start singing national anthem? Exactly. I decided to stop by Domino's Pizza in my area. As I opened their door, the smell hit me first. Fresh dough, melted cheese, and that tiny dangerous whisper of pepperoni. Yee! It was just calling my name. Edgar. My stomach was already composing love songs. As I was scanning the menu, trying to decide between thin crust or thick crust, something in my spirit just said, Edgar, look back. I said, look back. I turned around, and you will not believe the person I saw. It was you! She stood there behind me, not even realizing it was me at first. But then, our eyes locked, and in that moment, we forgot about the hunger and we just hugged. Not the quick, hi, how far, how are you kind of hug. No, this was the kind of hug that said, I have missed you, and I didn't even know how much until now. She pulled back slightly, smiling, and then she started crying.
I'm so sorry, E. I'm sorry I disappeared. I'm so sorry.
That was when I now even remembered that, wait, Edgar, you were upset, oh. How come you are laughing now? I was like, what happened to you? I kept calling and calling. Did I do anything wrong? She shook her head, wiping her tears.
This is not the place. Edgar, did you drive? Let's go to our spot.
We got into the car and drove to our spot beside the T-Junction. That was when she told me everything. how her ex had seized her phones, and because she couldn't communicate with her colleagues at work, she lost her job. I felt this deep, burning anger in my chest. I wanted to find her ex, look him straight in the eyes, and give him the kind of knock on his head that would make him see his ancestors immediately. If I were rich, I would have told her not to worry about the phone and bought her a new one on the spot. But truth be told, I was broke. I am still broke. In fact, that evening, I didn't even have enough fuel in my car. Anyways, she told me she was saving up to get a new phone. And she did. Surprisingly, she did. Just like that, I found you again. We were back to talking every other day, seeing each other whenever we could, and spending our usual time at the T-Junction like nothing had changed. Little by little, guys, I was falling in love with you. I liked everything about you. Her smile, her hug, the way she spoke to me. She ticked most of my boxes. She had this thing where she would scroll through her phone and show me memes, selfies, random videos. And I loved every second of it. One day, we were at the T-Junction, sitting inside my car. I decided I was going to tell her how I feel. I decided to speak my mind. I told her, I like you, and I find you interesting. She turned to me, eyes soft but curious, and asked,
Why? Why do you like me, Edgar?
To be honest, I didn't have an answer. And up to this very moment, I still don't. So I told her the truth. I said, my heart has chosen you. I haven't felt like this in a very long time. She smiled. Then she asked, do you love me? Without thinking, I said, yes. Yes, I love you. Yes, I do. Her smile faded.
I'm not your kind of person. My past, it's too dirty for you.
I shook my head. I don't care about your past. I'm interested in your present and your future. Then she looked at me, tears filling her eyes, and whispered,
Edgar, do you promise to stand by me regardless of my past and my present situations?
I do, you. I will stand by you, no matter what. She cried and cried. I held her close. I cried as well, We stayed there in that quiet bubble for a very long while before I finally drove home. So, why am I still single today? Why am I not with you? Why is it not you and I and you? Okay. Some weeks after that day at Domino's, she came over to spend the weekend at my place. We were just chilling, laughing, talking. At some point, she went into the kitchen to make noodles or rice. I can't even remember. I was bored. So I grabbed her phone and started flipping through her photo gallery. Just casual, harmless scrolling. Until I saw it. A folder titled My Babies. I opened it and boom. Over 20 pictures of her with 2 different kids. Not just smiling beside them, but holding them close, kissing their forehead, feeding them. Now, these weren't quick, random selfies. These looked important, like these kids are my whole world important. I was confused, but I didn't want to jump to conclusion. When she came back from the kitchen with the food, I asked casually, whose babies are these?
Oh, those are my elder sister's children.
She said, straight face, no hesitation. Cool, end of story. At least, that's what I told myself. But here's the thing. She was too involved with those kids. It wasn't just 1 or 2 photos. She had a whole folder named My Babies. She had videos where she was laughing, saying, my baby did this, my baby did that. Still, whenever I asked, it was always,
they're my sisters.
And I wanted to believe her. I really did. Why would she lie to me? But then, little things started adding up. The time she bought baby clothes and said they were a gift. The way she rushed to answer calls whenever a certain number rang. The night she smiled at a picture on her lock screen and quickly turned the phone away when I leaned in. It didn't make sense. It felt like she was hiding something. And then, one day, she slipped. I overheard her conversation with her mom, asking her when she was going home to feed her kids. When I confronted her, she sighed, looked at me and said,
I'll tell you everything tonight.
That evening, we were parked at the T-Junction. She held my hands, looked me straight in the eyes. Then she took a deep breath and said,
I need to tell you something, but promise me you won't change how you feel about me.
I stayed quiet.
The babies, they're mine.
I froze. She went on, explaining how she had been in a relationship with her ex, how things got messy, how she ended up having 2 babies for him. Then she said something else, something heavier. She once had abortion for this same guy, before finally deciding to keep these 2. My chest felt tight. She looked at me and said,
I love you, E. I want to build my life around you. You're the one I've been waiting for. I feel so comfortable around you.
And that's when the war in my head began. Because on one hand, I liked her. I cared about her. I didn't want to be the guy who judged someone for their past. But on the other hand, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't ready. The baggage felt too heavy. 2 kids, an ex I knew was trouble, an animal I didn't want to be anywhere near. I looked at her and whispered, I don't know. Tears rolled down her face.
Do you still love me?
I don't know. She cried harder, talked about how I promised to like her regardless of her past. But I stayed silent. I didn't decide that night. Something in me started pulling back. Calls got shorter, meetings became fewer, and slowly I disappeared, never to stop at the T-Junction again. The last time we spoke, she texted me, saying she regretted telling me the truth because it ruined the love and fun that we had. Guys, I never had the chance to apologize until now. After she walked away, or maybe I should say after I walked away, I kept replaying everything in my head over and over like a broken record. Whenever I take a drive past the T-Junction and I see our spot, I just remember her. I remember you. People say if you love someone, you accept them, flaws and all. But the truth is, love isn't the only ingredient in a relationship. There's timing, there's readiness, there's emotional capacity, and I had none of those things. At that point in my life, I wasn't ready for her baggage. Still not ready. The thought of suddenly stepping into a father role, blending into someone's complicated past, and becoming the emotional safe place for both her and her children, I just didn't feel equipped. But here's the part that still haunts me. I didn't have to disappear. I didn't have to leave her in silence, making her believe she was unworthy of love just because she told me the truth. I told myself I was protecting her from more pain, that if I stayed, my hesitation would eat us alive. But maybe I was really protecting myself from feeling like the bad guy. The guilt still sneaks up on me sometimes. When I see a mother laughing with her child, I remember you. When I read in the news that someone aborted a child, I remember you. When I remember the way she used to look at me like I was the safest place in the world, I remember you. When I think about the fact that the only thing she did wrong was trust me enough to tell me her truth, I remember you. And if you is listening now, and maybe she isn't, I want her to know this. I wasn't ready, not for you, not for your world, not for the man you needed me to be. And that's on me, not you. Maybe in another life, another time, with another version of me, would have made it. But here, in this life, at that T-Junction, I took the wrong turn. Now, life is full of T-Junctions. Sometimes you turn left, sometimes right, and sometimes you just stand there, staring, until the moment passes you by. That day, with her, I didn't take either road. I just froze. And maybe that's worse than choosing wrong. Because at least with a wrong turn, you can circle back. And when you stand still, the road closes behind you, and you never see where it could have led. I still wonder what would have happened if I'd been brave enough to take her hand and step forward. But that's the thing about T-Junctions. Once you walk away, you can't go back to the same one. So here I am, still single, still telling stories, and maybe still waiting for the next junction to give me another shot at getting it right. I hope you are listening to this wherever you are. And I hope somehow you find it in your heart to forgive me for the choices I had to make and the regrets I'll always carry. Because Edgar doesn't lie. I miss you. And that's the end of this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then don't forget to subscribe and share the podcast with those who are single, dating, or married. Rate the podcast and drop a comment. And yes, you can donate to support the podcast. Please just send me an email, all right? If you want to donate, send me an email. $3 will go a long way. At least, even if it's $3, or even 1,000 naira. Guys, guess what? Next week is going to be massive. It is going to be super good. TGIF3 is coming. TGIF3 is coming. For those of you who are wondering what TGIF is, go back and listen to the first and second TGIF. Guys, so please send in your comments and send in your emails. I will read as many as I can read during the TGIF episode, okay? We have a special giveaway coming up next week, so you don't want to also miss it, okay? Now, if you have a story to share, then please send it to me through my email address, edgar@checkedgar.com. Edgar is EDGAR. Or for a quicker response, you can chat with me in the chat box on my website, www.checkedgar.com. Or you can also join the WhatsApp community and chat with me on WhatsApp, alright? The link is in the show notes. I'll respond in 3 hours or less, I promise. Edgar doesn't lie. Now remember that the podcast ends the day I get married, not the date, the day I marry. So don't forget to tell your beautiful friends that Edgar is single and he would love to go on a date with her. If that lady is you, just send me a message to my email address at edgar@checkedgar.com. Edgar doesn't lie. Check Edgar out. TGIF3 is coming. 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 3. See you guys next week Friday. Bye. TGIF3 is coming.
Thank you for listening, my people. If you had fun, don't keep it to yourself. Join the CheckMates WhatsApp community. It is where we vibe, laugh, and maybe cry small. But most importantly, we connect. Click the link in the show notes or email your number to edgar@checkedgar.com to join us. Until next week, remember, Edgar doesn't lie.